Well, this is Doug Small, and this is the weekly Path update. John Whaley did the one for last week, and I'm using other people who are involved. We're almost halfway into our Million Soul campaign. This morning, I did a radio broadcast with Moody out of Chicago. Earlier, I did one out of Birmingham, a Christian station out of Birmingham, Alabama. Later today, I've got yet one more broadcast. I did one in New York. I think the listenership there was 6 to 8 million. Altogether, I would say probably we're somewhere between 20 to 25 million people who potentially the listener audience of these radio stations have heard these calls to prayer for the Million Soul campaign. We have at least a dozen partners that are promoting prayer and evangelism in the 50-day Passover to Pentecost period or during this year. And a number of them have a goal of seeing 1 million people saved. I say that to you because this is something the Lord has called us to do. I think God is speaking that we have to break our silence and we have to encourage people to pray specifically for the lostness of their friends and then find ways to care and find ways to share the gospel. And so even if we do not achieve our goal of 1 million people praying and seeing 1 million people saved by Pentecost Sunday, the goal is noble and it's worth continuing to pursue because it is the only thing that's guaranteed to change the nation. A massive number of people who have an encounter with Christ. And I remind you that 1 million, it's not enough, but it's twice as many as we're seeing saved across all denominations now. It's a worthy goal. I don't want you to be discouraged. I don't want you to feel like, or to anyone to feel like it's just too late. It's never too late to pray. It's never too late to pray for lostness around us. It's never too late to pray for a spiritual awakening in America and in the nation. I can tell you, radio host after radio host after radio host, all are turned on by this call, this sense that we have that God is wanting to do something special and bold and mighty in this nation. And we may not have another chance. There is a window of openness here. I tell you again that one survey indicates that 80% of Gen Z, young millennials, and that whole group, they are attending church now slightly 0.1%, but it's significant. That's significant, more than my generation, the baby boomers, and 80% of them have some level of openness to learn about faith, or be invited to church, or even to have someone pray with them. This is incredible. I don't know in my lifetime that we've ever seen that level of openness, but only 2 to 8% of us are sharing our faith. We're intimidated by the culture, and we feel like we have to know 100 Bible verses to witness. No. It's very simple. Evangelism as blessing. That's the model we're presenting. Go to prayerattheheart.org if you've not done that. If you've not registered, if you're getting this and you're not registered, it's not too late to do this. Look at the resources tab and look at prayer evangelism as blessing and just watch the one evening training and you'll get an idea of how to comfortably share your faith, building a bridge. In the old days, my days, you evangelized and then you discipled, which meant you got people into a class, not anymore. Now you disciple people to a place of conversion. And from conversion, you disciple them forward. It's relational. It's completely relational. And so you want to get close enough to people so that you can ask them to share their story, their God story. And then you want not that time, but later to share your God story. And then you're building this relationship. You're expanding and extending this bridge. Then you want to tell them his story. And you want to invite them into his story. Christianity is an adventure. It's not a one-time deal. It's an adventure. There's the ambassador training material, if you've not looked at that. There's the Salty Groups, prayer at work, if you've not looked at that. There's a possibility of getting your lay chaplain certificate with Dr. Kuntz, if you've not looked at that. There's prayer for the neighborhood, the Bless Every Home, if you've not looked at that. All of these resources. And there's that wonderful 50-day prayer guide that's not dated. You can use it beyond this day, and it moves you every day. Every day there's a state. Every day there's an unreached people group. Every day there's a prayer quote. Every day there's a prayer walking idea. So all of these resources are at Prayer at the Heart. Today I was asked, if you know someone who is not a believer, what do? Send them to Meet Jesus / Prayer at the Heart. And you'll find an evangelism opportunity laid out there. You'll find Billy Graham's message that he gave at his crusades. You'll find a prayer with him for lost people. You'll also find you'll also find on that site a number that you can call and you can give to friends. Last year, 1 million people called that number, and tens of thousands gave their heart to Christ. You can join that team, by the way, and they'll train you. And you might have the privilege of praying with someone to be healed or praying with someone to receive Christ. Don't slow down. This is not a time to slow down. If you're a state leader, get on board, even at this late stage, and start helping us find county people. Google what are the 10 largest cities in your state and find people and mobilize them to begin to pray. Listen, if we don't see a massive number of people come to Christ, if we don't see, and that is really the measure of a spiritual awakening, this will not be a safe place for our grandchildren. They may visit our graves and say to us, "You could have done something, Granddad. You could have changed things, Grandmother." I don't want that to be said. I want to make this my boldest, best effort to see spiritual awakening in the nation. So join me. Join me in this mission. We're desperately in need of a fresh infusion of funds. And so pray with us that God will give us those funds. And we're also, of course, in need of your help, that you would find one person. That's all, one person. Don't worry about the million. Just find one person. In fact, what I say is find 10. Make a list of 10. Have coffee with 5. Look for the opportunity to share Christ with at least 3 of the 10. And hope and pray that one will make a commitment to Christ. 10, 5, 3, 1. And do this with 2 other people. Do this with 2 other people, because that will encourage you and you'll encourage them to not stop until you see evangelism take place. This is Doug Small, the weekly Prayer at the Heart team update. Thanks for listening.